they're going to be hitting, they'll shoot the three, they'll shoot over the shoulder. Oh, that one is him. This one will pick up the two of us.
If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
I don't think any of us can be satisfied in the United States until that war is brought to an honorable end and American soldiers are brought back into the United States.
One day, we will have to stand before the God of history.
That was the part of it.
And we will talk in terms of things we've done. And it seems that I can hear the God of history saying, that was not enough. But I was hungry, and ye fed me not.
Amen. Now, to me, welcome to the Gilchrist experience. At the time, this is April 3rd, 1968. I was 27 years old, so I was well aware of what was going on around me. I had been a militant Marine in the Corps 60 to 64, so by 68, I'd been to Europe, I'd been around. But this man to me was, hey, many Jesus, someone that save our people. Now we update ourselves today as, is this the promised land? You see the, we've got a black president and he's got crackers on both sides, you know, and the Klan on both sides as far as I can see. So we've got today Daji.
Yes, Daji Brown.
Daji Brown from yes. Brooklyn. Brooklyn's in the house. And we're going to take the perspective of a youngster that wasn't even here at that time. You know, he died the following night.
Yes, April 4th.
So this man saw his death coming. He actually saw God speak to him. Do you get that feeling? How does this affect you?
Well, today, I feel like what he was saying was so prophetic, you know? Mm-hmm. It's amazing if you look at what he was saying back then, even around that time, when he was speaking out against the Vietnam War, right. When he was...
the year before.
Yeah, you know, the year before. Like, I believe Dr. King, he realized that his dream didn't mean anything if we couldn't pay to go into those restaurants that we wanted equal rights to get into, you know. And it's so amazing now, you know, that we are experiencing that now, where there are a lot of African Americans living in these communities where they can't even afford the things in their communities, you know. I would have loved to see what would have happened if he would have lived, because his fight would have had a turn, you know. It would have been more about a plan. I have a plan to do this. I have a plan to do that. I really believe that. You know, he saw that healthcare was a problem, education was a problem, you know, especially for our people, you know, and, you know, sometimes I do, like, God speaks to me the same way, I feel like.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
God bless you.
I feel like God speaks to me the same way.
Good.
You know, like he tells me, okay, Daji, you need to do this, you need to do that, this is coming, so prepare for this, you know. So I know what he was feeling, you know, I know that feeling.
You can feel this.
I can feel it.
Okay.
I can feel it. I do.
That's important.
It is.
You have to have a God consciousness if you're black in order to survive.
Yes.
Because being black can drive you crazy.
You're right about that.
You know, it can really, you have to watch your mental status when you're confronted with all the wrongs, when you try so hard to do things right, and when you turn around and the only way you can get anything is to do it the wrong way. Especially for black people, because it's set up that way. This is planned genocide. And you as a youth might not see it as well as us old folks, since we've been through it 3 or 4 different times under all circumstances. That was planned genocide in the 60s.
Wow. And, you know, it's interesting because my friends, my peers, I must say, they go through the same thing. You know, where they feel like the only way for them to make money is to make it illegally. So they do things, you know, even like dancing on the train, you know, or you know, something that maybe that seeming is still illegal, you know. At the end of the day, they feel like, well, the education system is not working for me, so I have to go out there and make $200 a day by dancing on the train, you know. And I see that firsthand, you know. Being black is very hard. A black male in this country is very hard.
And you're how old?
I'm 23. I'll be 24 soon.
23. That's great. To be that aware at 23, I mean.
Thank
Well,
you.
what's in front of you? What do you think about Michael Brown and all this other? How does that affect you?
You know, it's funny, right? I'm about a month ago, about a month before the Mike Brown situation happened. I was walking down the street, and I just threw on an orange sweater. And when I got to the end of my block, a cop car drove right in front of me. And just, they got out, and I looked, there was a cop car right there. And then I looked behind me, there was another cop car. Before I know it, there was 8 police officers around me. And I asked them, I was very...
Sir, you know.
Exactly. I'm very aware of what to do. I mean, there's 8 officers around me. It was funny because people were driving by, they stopped, and they started to record on their phones because they were trying to figure out what happened. I asked them, you know, what was going on. They said there were robberies in my neighborhood, and I fit the description.
Ah, okay.
I was like, okay, what was the description?
No, so what is your approach? What does your survival kit tell you to do?
I stand still. I listen. I mean, I had to. If I would have responded any other way, it could have went south. And I knew that my life, you know, was in danger. You know what I mean? I've never been arrested before. I've never had that kind of situation happen before. So I had to just. I watched the videos of how to respond if a police officer
from Graham,
approached you. Yeah, from Graham. I later found out it was Graham that made those videos. So I had to. I responded correctly, and you know what helped me was the fact that I was like that. I was, you know, I was well spoken, and I was very polite and submissive, and you know, they let me go. They said, you know, we can't even hold him here. He obviously didn't do it, you know.
Right, so how many of your peers that you personally know would have reacted completely the opposite?
I believe maybe, 85% of them. And
What would have been their attitude?
well, one thing that the officer did, he just told me to raise my hands, and he started touching me. I think anybody in that situation would have
Get your hands on.
exactly. And
That's what he was
he
looking
reached in
for.
my pocket and grabbed.
Completely illegal.
Yeah.
Right, Grant?
Well, it depends on what he felt in the pocket. Now, he didn't explain. They said there was a robbery, some robberies in the
okay.
neighborhood, and he fit the description.
Okay.
Was the robbery an armed robbery?
Okay.
Was it a forcible robbery?
Right.
Now, you put your arms up and they patted you down.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So then, subsequent to the pat, he feels something in your pocket.
Yes.
And he puts his hand in your pocket. Now, if it doesn't feel like a gun or a knife, if it feels like a cell phone or something like that,
Right.
you know, what did he pull out of your pocket?
My wallet.
Your wallet.
So it was the back pocket.
No, it was my front pocket. I had on sweatpants, so I didn't have
okay.
any back pockets.
Okay.
I literally, let me just go to the store.
So when he took the wallet out, what transpired?
He saw my ID. He saw the fact that I worked in the church.
Okay.
He saw my church ID, and they were all having conversations. You know, like it was him. It was two black officers there. He was white, the guy that was touching me. There were two black officers. No, he was white.
Oh, okay.
And what's funny about it was he said, he said to me, he says, you fit the description. If the description was nice hair, white guy, medium height, then I fit this description. I was just like, but it's not me, And I had to tell him, look, this is not me. I literally just came from my house. You can call my parents because they just left me,
But you were calm about
I was very calm.
Okay.
I was very calm. I had no reason to feel guilty,
Right. Right.
And when you're not guilty, you're not gonna. It was interesting. It was interesting. So when I heard about Mike Brown, I thought about myself and how that could have been me, because literally it's the same exact situation. The cop heard about a robbery. Someone robbed cigarettes.
Well, they haven't even determined that
No.
officer knew
No.
about the robbery
Exactly.
because
He
they
didn't
didn't
know.
put it out on the radio.
He didn't know about the robbery.
So the situations are very similar. And that could have been me. That could have been me. So it makes me very angry. It makes me very angry when I think about my peers who sometimes are not as knowledgeable or as calm. So they're not going to respond the same way in the same situation.
Now, Gigi, you think that the fact that people stopped and started filming had something to do
What
with
time
it?
of day was this?
It was daytime. It was
Okay.
it was about 11 o'clock in the morning.
11 o'clock in the morning.
It was 11 o'clock in the morning. And what was interesting was when there was a lady who was filming, mainly she stopped the car. The female officer was just like, oh, does she know you? And I was like, no, she doesn't know me. She was like, oh, she's just one of those people that's trying to get a video. But the lady stayed there until they let me go.
Right.
Everybody else left, but she stayed until they let me go. And when she saw that they were letting me go, she waved to me and she drove off.
There you go.
I felt.
Your backup should.
People often wonder whether or not you can video, and you can video. You can literally video anything in public.
Right.
And I did a video for We Are Change a couple of years ago on videoing in the street. And I said, everybody's under surveillance in New York. You're being taped while you're walking down the street, whether it's a private camera on somebody's home, an office building, or NYPD. But just as the lady did, she kept her distance. She didn't open her mouth. She kept her distance. She just videoed. And fortunately, and looking back to Rodney King, that many years ago, were it not for the video,
92?
we never would have known the real deal, with regard to Rodney King. But I want to, you're from Brooklyn.
Yes.
Give us a little background on yourself, other than the fact that you're 23. Where did you go to school? And
Okay. I grew up in Brooklyn, from Crown Heights. My father's Panamanian. My mother's from Brooklyn, and I went to school at Brooklyn School for Collaborative Studies. That was my high school. And that was an interesting experience because I was fortunate. It was a great high school experience. It was.
Where's it located?
Carroll Gardens.
Okay.
It was about 75 kids in my graduating class. We were the first graduating class in high school. And in 8th grade, I went to the junior high school. The school also has a junior high school. They told us that they were building the high school. So we, every Saturday, we would come in and plan what the high school would be like. So I was very fortunate to be a part of that. I love the school. I go back as often as I can. Still in great relationship with the principals and the teachers there. And I actually did some work with the school after high school. I did my own after-school program. The school allowed me to come back and do my own after-school program through my company, Mama's Thoughts. You know, so I love the school, and that school prepared me to be a leader. I can honestly say I learned that in high school. The classes and the way the school was set up was to prepare us, to be leaders. And we had classes where we would make our own rules for the school, you know, student rules. Parent-teacher conference was student parent-teacher conference, where the students explain why they got the grades that they have. So if you had good grades, you know this is why. But if your grades weren't so good, you know, you had to explain to your parents. Okay.
Self-assessment.
Exactly. Peer mediation.
It's a private school?
No, this was a public school.
Public
this is a public school.
In Brooklyn?
In Brooklyn. Yeah, it's a public school in Brooklyn.
Is that unusual or what?
It was very unusual, you know. Very unusual.
What's the name of the school again?
Brooklyn School for Collaborative Studies.
For Collaborative Studies.
Yeah, it's all about working together.
How many students?
Well, now it's probably about 400.
400?
Yeah, because in the building there's elementary school, middle school, and a high school.
So you move right
fantastic.
through.
You move right through.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
And no course? No course?
No cost.
Public
No
school.
cost. It's public school.
Public school?
Yeah. So I really enjoyed the school, and
Right.
it really, you know, made me the person that I am today. I can honestly say that.
Okay.
I was a shy person growing up. You know, I didn't really talk as much until I went to the school. You know, and you know, it just really taught me how to speak up for myself. I miss it sometimes. I miss high school. I really do. You know, but it was great. You
So
know,
after high school, what'd you do?
After high school, immediately after high school, I was confused. You know, I went through a little trouble. My parents didn't go to college, so the college process was very, very hard for me, trying to figure out exactly where to go. You know, so I took some time off, and about a year later, I started my own company. I realized that this is what I wanted to do, which was different. I got a lot of criticism for it, you know, but I felt like it was something that I need to do, you know. It's not that I don't support college, because eventually I would love to go to college and eventually own my own college and, you know, make it free so that everybody can go.
Yeah. Make it free and everything. Oh,
When I was going to college, it was almost free. City University cost you about $250 a semester to go to school at City College when I was going to school. So compare that to now.
Exactly. Right? And I often, you know, I'm often asked the question, do you regret the decision that you made? I honestly don't. Because I don't want to say that I learned more being in the real world, managing a company and a 9-to-5.
How did you learn how to manage a company? The internet? Just reading?
Yeah, you know, like a lot of things.
So that's your college right there, the internet.
Yeah, I read the internet. I read as often as I can. Books about finance, books about leadership, dealing with people, which is, I don't think college could teach you how to do that.
Yeah,
it's like dealing with people, leading people, motivating people.
Yeah.
Those are really complicated
That's
things to
coming
do.
from Brooklyn.
Yeah, it is. Oh, yes.
Such a diversified group, Brooklyn is.
It's the best place on
So
earth.
you were about 19 when you
Yeah.
went into business?
About
19.
19.
Okay.
19. Yeah, I was 19. I was 19 turning 20. I was 19 turning 20. And it officially happened when I was 20. I just wanted creative freedom. I was always involved in the church. I was always involved in ministry. But I noticed that, you know, I don't know, I was always thinking about my legacy at 19, 20. Like, what will I leave behind, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and I know that if I wanted to leave something behind, I'm thinking about Dr. King. At 1955, he was 25, you know, going on 26 when he started the Montgomery bus boycott. So
Oh, you know what?
I gotta do something. I'm 19.
Right.
By 25, I need to have something
Interesting.
substantial. I have
You
to have
actually compared
something.
yourself to what Martin? Well, it's just, the analogy is fantastic.
Yeah.
I had to. I mean, I'm
Well, you're 23 now, and
Yeah.
look at you.
I'm 23, and I would hope by 25. I'm planning by 25 to have a voice where when I speak, people listen, you know, and they understand. You know, I think the problem in today's society, when it pertains to the African American situation, is that a lot of young people are not speaking up, and a lot of them don't know how to. You know, they don't know how to without making quick judgments about things and saying things that they later on regret. You know, social media has given everybody a platform, but a lot of people don't know how to use that platform. You know, one thing I would never do is go on social media and start cursing out cops, and which a lot of my peers do. You know, and like I think in today's world, you have to fight smart. You have to fight smart, and a lot of our youth don't know how to fight smart. Part of fighting smart is talking to a Graham. You know what I mean? Where me and Graham, we have conversations, and he educates me.
Right.
He educates me about the way things were. You know, that's fighting smart, because if me at 23 team up with someone that's older than I am to, you know, address situations, then, you know, more progress can be made, because then I can learn from mistakes, you know, before, and I can, you know, educate him about what's going on now. You know what I mean? You know? What's interesting, if you think about the Montgomery bus boycott, was Martin Luther King was 25, Rosa Parks was in her 40s.
Right. Right.
You know,
right,
like
right.
it was them working together.
And she worked for the NAACP.
Oh yeah, she was the secretary.
Yeah.
she
People don't know that.
was yeah, and if that's interesting.
See, you're a young black man that reads history.
Oh yeah, I
Which
love
is
history.
unusual.
I love history.
Matter of fact, one of the women you know at the church lived around the corner from Rosa Parks.
Oh, wow. In Montgomery.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'll let you know Sunday, because you've seen her 1,000 times, but you don't know the story. But she'll tell you about Rosa Parks. It's good to hear a young man comparing himself.
Gosh, fabulous.
Time frame, 23, 25.
Yeah. That's what you should
Paul said, let no man despise your youth. And the fact that Martin was considerably younger than Rosa wasn't a problem. And we shouldn't have a problem in talking with our young people, or even taking direction from our young people, especially when they have particular giftings. You founded a media company.
Yeah.
So tell us a little about your company, and we have a clip also.
You want to show the
That's,
clip first?
Yeah, we can show the clip.
Yeah.
I just run one of the clips from Daji. You have one ready? Want to roll in? All right, there you go.
Stay mindless.
Show me where it's at. Show me where it's at. Show me where it's at.
up Marlon's thoughts, it's unbelievable. The stuff that we have planned, from writing and production, plays and short films and music videos. And there's stuff that we haven't even released yet. Dance videos and events and concerts and all the things that we're trying to do. Actually, all the things that we're going to do is unbelievable. It's unbelievable, and it's happening here in your city. The best thing for you to do right now is support it.
Hey, got to be.
You shoot the videos at Christian Cultural Center.
I do.
That are aired weekly.
Yeah.
You know, for the announcements. And the two individuals that videos, I liken them, not exactly, but somewhat like Burns and Allen, because there's always a comedic twist. Do you guys write the scripts, or?
They write the scripts.
They write the scripts.
I more so direct and shoot and edit. For those announcements.
So you do it all?
Yeah, and well, I have to thank my church, because I learned a lot of my media. I learned it from church. I got involved when I was 11.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I got involved when I was 11. My parents,
great.
They always had me involved in something.
Oh, great.
So I got involved when I was 11. So now I work there full time, Yeah.
So you were nurtured as a child. That's
Yeah.
great. Grew up in the church.
I grew up in the church. And I can honestly say if it wasn't for God, I would not be here.
Amen. A lot of us. I know that's why I'm sitting here.
That's right.
So when it comes to running my company and the decisions that I make, I have to pray, I have to meditate, I have to make sure that I'm operating in His will. Because if I don't, I don't want one decision to ruin everything that I built. So that I built over the years.
In Exodus 33, it's interesting the way you're talking, because last night Elder Pointer was preaching out of Exodus 33. And Moses is engaged in a dialogue with God. And God is explaining to Moses that He is orchestrating and setting things up for Moses to move with the people.
Wow.
And Moses says to God, well then, I don't want to move until you move. Don't even let me move with all of these. These are your people. Don't let me make a move that could be the wrong move unless you clearly show me that this is what you want me to do. So Moses said, I'm going to sit back. I'm going to lean back and wait for your word. Hearing what you said, that backstory gives us a lot in terms of how a 23-year-old can move the way you've been moving. I don't believe everybody needs to go to college, but everybody needs to be educated.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to be intelligent, and everybody needs to obtain wisdom.
Yeah.
And the fact that you sought to establish your own company, entrepreneurship, and go after the passion that you have, that's primarily what, along with your relationship with God, has sustained you and is taking you to this level and will take you to higher levels. A lot of young people, they want it fast. They want it fast, and I'm glad that, I'm not saying I'm glad, but it's the fact that you don't have a college degree lets young people know you can be successful as long as you're willing to apply yourself to whatever the task is, whatever your passion is. Yes.
Okay. That's right.
So what, Mindless Thoughts, where'd you come up with that name?
Okay. So there's this band. So the story goes like this. I was 19. I was dating. I was in a very serious relationship.
At 19.
At 19. And I just wanted to do something. I wanted to do something creative. I had experiences in photography. I had experiences in video. I wanted to do something creative. So me and my girlfriend at the time, we started working together on videos for, like home makeover videos. It didn't work out. The first day, it just did not work out. So I called my best friend. His name is Danny Smith, and I said, Danny, can we can we work together on some ideas that I have for videos, just so that we can do something, just so that we can have our own voice. He was like, anything you want to do, let's do it. Just so happened my cousin was, he has this band called Phony People. That's an R&B, funk, jazz band. They're around my age too. Incredible musicians. Their album just released yesterday.
Oh.
Yeah, their album just released yesterday. So I called him, I said, PJ, I said, do you guys need photos and videos for your band? And he was just like, yeah. He said, come to our rehearsal on Friday. The rest was history. Through them, working with them, putting together, just shooting videos for them. A lot of music artists wanted to work with us, and we started building ourselves that way. I grew up as a dancer. I've always danced. I was a stepper. I was a part of the boot step ministry. Yeah, so I always wanted to do something with dance. There's this community in New York City called the Light Feet community. Light Feet, Litefeet, Light Feet community. A lot of people know it as Showtime. You ever ride the trains? Go Showtime.
Yeah.
I was going to underground dance events at the time with Danny and a couple of other my friends, and we knew that we wanted to get involved in the Light Feet community. Now we are the #1 media company for that particular style of dance, where we shoot all the videos, we host all the events, and these kids can come instead of dancing on the trains every day. They can come to our events and dance either for free, or we don't charge that much for our events, and they compete. They compete for prize monies. We give them a voice. You get to hear their stories, where they grew up, their background. A lot of these young men, they range from the age of 13, I could say, to about 20, 25. They grew up in harsh areas, and they were forced to be creative in ways of making money. And dancing was part of that creativity. And if you ever listen to the music, or if you ever see the style of dance, everything is created by them. The music, the dance, the way they wear their clothing, you can see it all around New York City now. I call them they're the #1 advertisers, because if you have a T-shirt on and you give it to kids that dance on the subway every day, the amount of people that see it it's unbelievable. And what's going on underground in New York City is going to other places. Now there's Light Feet in Japan. Now there's Light Feet in France. Now there's Light Feet in Germany.
So there's a paradigm shift here. It's always been said that everybody copies black people.
Oh, yeah.
Elvis copied Berry.
Yeah.
Elvis stole music from a number of people, literally stole it. And here, what young folks have formulated on the subway, and then your collaboration with them to film, provide them with space to dance, and that has blossomed into an international art form.
Yeah, it has. It's interesting because now I receive photos and videos and comments from people all across the world that appreciate our work, what we're doing for that. And this is just one section of Mindless Thoughts. This is just our dance section. This is what we're trying to do. I really part of where we're going is, okay, Mayor de Blasio passed the law where they can't do that anymore. They're getting arrested for it. over 200 of them were arrested last year between January.
Singing on the subway?
Dancing on the
Dancing.
subway.
Dancing on the subway.
And interesting,
Oh.
they just released a picture of a stick figure dancing on the pole saying, this is for holding on, this is not to practice your latest routine. That's how much life has had an effect on New York City. You know, like it's a subway ad now. You know,
Well,
but
they need someplace to
They
actually
do.
dance.
they do. And you know what Marlon Stutz is trying to do is get these kids after school programs where they can teach their style. You know, let's make it a legit art form. Let's not wait until it goes to Japan and Germany where it's not ours anymore.
And then they send it back to you.
And they send it back to us.
So what do a youngster that sings, would he come to you as...
Yeah. So, okay, we
Or
work.
raps.
Yeah, if they rap, we will provide studio time,
Okay.
advice in terms of management, of videos, music videos. You know, we provide the things that artists need in order to establish themselves. You know, promotion, which is very important, and we've done it with little to no money, using our resources in social media. You know, just really stepping back and understanding how the world works today. You know, it's interesting because artists don't make money off their music anymore. They don't. There are no record stores.
You know, it's very true because what the internet has done, it's destroyed. Sam Cooke was the first artist to collect all of his royalties because he
Yeah.
controlled everything that he did.
And the mobsters were after him.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and
He was before Barry Gordy.
right,
Right.
long before
Yeah.
Barry Gordy, and 10 years before Barry Gordy. But today, once your product hits the internet,
Yeah.
it's gone. Your intellectual and creative juices are out there in the universe, and anybody can snatch it up, lay claim to it, and the matter is, once it is licensed, once it's copyrighted, once it's trademarked, your creativity is no longer yours.
Yeah.
Well, one problem I have, Graham, I put a video on Illuminati, and because I see that it's affecting, they're the controlling big brother in the music industry. Is that not true?
I don't know. A lot of people call it the Illuminati. A lot of people call it a lot of different things. But I can tell you this: someone is controlling.
Pulling the string.
Yeah, someone's pulling the strings.
And it's demonic. Jay-Z, give me your, I mean, you being a spiritual person, I'm sure that you've got your armor of God to protect you against all these demons that are out there in the music industry.
Personally, I'm not worried.
Okay.
I'm not worried. You know, one thing I can tell you is this: like, when it comes down to music, a lot of people do things for the sake of money.
Right.
Money controls it all.
Right.
And Marlon Stutz, what Marlon Stutz has done is that we brought art back to the forefront. We don't think about money. We think about art. We think about art.
Amen.
Because if you just
Amen.
listen to music, you listen to music, you listen to what's on the radio. It's the same 20 to 30
Yeah,
songs.
yeah.
And at first, when you first hear it for the first time, you don't like it. You don't like the song. It's like, oh, what is this? By the time
Redundancy.
third week comes along, you're singing it without it even playing, you know? And
Brainwash.
and that's very interesting. What we want to do, let's do that with real art. You know, if you think about Motown, if you think about Sam Cooke,
Amen.
Otis Redding, if you think about all these great artists, Marvin Gaye.
Hey.
Listen to one Marvin Gaye song. You hear all the instruments in that song. You're like, wow. Wow,
It's all
that's
about
so
love.
many people involved in making one song. Nowadays, you can do everything on a computer. You know, we want to do that. We want to bring everybody involved in art. You know, bring art back to the forefront. Not, this looks nice. this sounds nice, so let's just throw it out, you know. Music is lost in advertisement nowadays, you know. They use music to advertise any and everything, you know. Like, okay, well, I'm going to wear this chain in my music video because I want the person that owns this chain. You know, like, it's amazing. We're about the art. If it's not real, if it's not dope, if it's not great, we're not going to work with it. We're not trying to make money fast.
What do you think of somebody like Nicki Minaj?
Yeah, it's funny. even though
When it comes to female rappers and the garbage that the verbiage that comes out of her mouth some of the time.
What's interesting about her, I must say that she's opening up a lot of doors for hip hop at the same time, which is very interesting because if you see the things that she's hosting, the things that she's doing, you know, I may not support what she did to get her there, but
what did she do to get there?
I may not support or see it or you know, but I think a lot of people, I must say this, a lot of people are looking for something to be a part of. A lot of people are looking for something to attach themselves to that they're proud of. That once they look at the product, they're like, okay, this is something that I stand for. This is something that I understand. I'm a little upset when it comes to musicians because I feel like they don't use their platform like they should. Okay. You know, in terms of, you know, for us as a people.
You look at your upbringing and you look at the average 23-year-old in Crown Heights that doesn't even know how to react to the police the way you do. Doesn't know anything about the music that's brainwashing and is being completely, you know, only way to make $1 is to cuss out your mother. What do you do with the characters like that? I know you know plenty of them.
You be patient with them. And
well, that's good.
Working with the Light Feet community has really taught me that. Okay. Because, you know, you can sit there, you have to realize that a lot of people are broken.
Okay.
A lot of people are broken. They have hearts that you know they're broken. Right. And what's being provided for them? You know, and it's sad. You know, it's really, really sad because the average 23-year-old is not thinking about their future. They're not thinking about 24, 25, 26, 27. Right. And you it's sad, but you just be patient with them.
You're thinking about people, aren't you?
I am. I'm thinking about people.
But you know.
Yeah. But you be patient. You have to be patient with them. You have to work with them. You have to show them something different. Okay. If there's nothing to look forward to.
So you see the problem?
Oh, I do. Oh. I do. I think we, as a people, all ages should come together.
Amen.
We should all come together and figure out our situation because it's not. We have to think about tomorrow. I mean, I have brothers and sisters that are extremely younger than I am. I have a brother who's 3, and I would never want him to experience what a Mike Brown experienced, you know? Oh. Which is why I work so hard to create a Mindless Thoughts, you know? When I think about a Barry Gordy, a Sam Cooke, all these black entrepreneurs, who Don Cornelius, you know what I mean? Like, you know, who was like around that time in the 70s, he was the only black man with his name on an opening of a television show.
Because he had that voice.
To the bank.
I like that. I like that. I think about that because one of the things that Mindless Thoughts wants to do is create black businesses. I want to create black businesses. I realize that is the main problem, one of the main problems in our communities, that we don't own any other businesses in our communities. We don't. And I want Mindless Thoughts to create black businesses. If a barbershop is you know, barbershops, Mindless Thoughts own barbershop, you know, and I would help, when I get there, I would help any black person start their businesses for the sake of creating black businesses in our community. Like, I think there's not enough. black businesses will help with the politicians, which will help with the police that are put in our communities. You know, a lot of police that are put in our communities are not even from Brooklyn.
If you had a chance to say something to President Obama, what would you suggest?
That's a tricky question. And if you look at the position that he's in, he's a black president that can't speak about race because he's black, you know? And
Black and white.
black and white. I pray for him every day because I can only imagine. I know Mike Brown hits home for him. I know it does. I know he wants to say more. I know he wants to do more, but he has to be careful. He has to be careful.
I think when he writes his memoirs, that'll be a book that will sell like hotcakes.
I'm very patient when it comes to him. My little sister, she's 12, and she was complaining to me. She's 12, and she was complaining to me on the train out loud about the fact that Obama didn't go to Ferguson. You know, she was like, I don't understand why he wouldn't go or why he, you know, and it really frustrated her at 12 years old. You know, she's like, you know, does anybody care about us? You know, and it's.
But he sent his first soldier. I mean, Attorney General went there.
So you gotta remember, well,
that's the government's first cop.
as a
That's true.
politician, even a mayor, we had a problem with Ed Koch years ago.
Yeah.
We had problems with Giuliani. When they intervened in certain scenarios,
Yeah.
it became political. So the president can't jump into a situation to talk about it, especially when it's coming under federal review.
Exactly.
So the Attorney General goes, he's going to handle the legalities of it all, and that is not the office of the presidency. He's the executive of the country. He's not the legal expert. But he sent the Attorney General to look into the case. And by making certain statements, it could be perceived as he's trying to politically sway a judicial process. So, you know, the president, the mayor, certain politicians, although they are the head of state or the leader of the city and municipality, there are some times when they have to keep their mouths shut
Absolutely right.
so that the system can theoretically work in a way that it's supposed to be, as opposed to adding more minutia into the mix. Where are you 10 years from now?
10 years from now, I want to open a creative school. A creative school. A creative school. You can call it a creative gym where
Arts
everybody
and
can go.
sciences or something like that?
Everyone can go and exercise their creativity. A building, maybe 6 floors, glass, where if the average youth can walk in and learn music production, dance,
Oh, we
connect
gotta
themselves,
talk, man.
connect themselves to any just any place. You know what I mean? Like
Write
they
it
could
up. We'll take it to President Obama.
I would like that.
All right?
Yeah.
We need something like that.
And creative,
there are a
and
lot of organizations.
all over the world.
You know, I'm on the board of directors of the Boys and Girls Club
Oh
of
wow.
Harlem. All right? So now we need a youngster like you to come in there and bring in programs. You know, I want to put a TV production program in there. But to have a youth like you on, you know, just to come in and, you know, tell your story,
I would love that.
you know? So there are a lot of things out there for you. You know, just keep God in mind. And like I said before, without God, a black man's dead.
Very true.
And that's what I think we should really promote. To all you guys out there that are cussing your mother out and call your females bees and all this other stuff in rap music and think it's macho and the way to be a man, that's not the route to go. Because you're facing and really demising everything that we stand for. Because we're spiritual people. And until we understand that, that's why it stays dead, because we don't rationalize. I think most young people don't feel a Martin Luther King. Back in those days, I mean, the sense of our history, our spirituality, our church upbringing was so prevalent. So when Martin died, I mean, the world ended, you know, goodness was gone, you know, and behind him, you know, Robert died.
Bobby died, right?
And that was a tough, 60s were
Yeah.
really tough, for me in particular, because in 63 you had, my mother died in October,
Wow.
and then President Kennedy died in November.
Wow.
And I said, what's going on? Does God exist? And I hated God for a long time.
Wow.
And I'm brought in the church like you were. You know, I was baptized at 11. But I mean, I'm saying this to say that today, with all this, you know, driving you crazy, you know, being black, with all the injustice going on, and you're a young man, you can't get anything done in life, you can't get a decent job, you can't, you go to school and do the right thing, you wind up with a bill out the yin-yang. I mean, there's so many things against, because it's all planned genocide. And when you get to the top, Jay-Z, Beyonce, and all, I mention Illuminati again, because I hear this all the time. Who's controlling? Who's running the show? The 1%ers of the industry. Just as, you know, you will watch Obama this next 2 years. I mean, like I say, he's got KKK on both sides. And he's a patient man. He's being patient with it, letting the world see how racism can drive you crazy on black and white. Because these guys are going mad, dealing with these, what is it, Tea Party?
Yeah.
Crews in the Senate? I mean, madmen. I mean, they want everything. And the smartest thing he did was at Cuba. Universal medicine and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But you coming up as a youngster with your temperament, you're a classic example of what a young black man is supposed to be doing. Respecting their elders, having a good heart, and wanting something positive and gentle, and knowing how to deal with police. That's the most important thing you can learn.
Yeah. There is one more video, one more
okay.
clip I think we have. If we can cue that up before we go.
You got that
Do we have
other?
the second video?
You got the other rolling? Not Clark.
We don't have
All right. Okay.
Before we end, I wanted to say that everything I do, I don't do alone. You know, I have a strong team behind me.
Amen.
Danny Smith, you know, he's
You're supposed to bring a couple of them today.
yeah,
right?
they weren't able to come. Danny Smith, he's turning 21 years old. He's going to Colby College in Maine. Jordan Allen, he goes to Ohio University. He's 21 years old. Kira Charles, she's the same age as me. She's 23. We worked together. We went to the same high school. Paul Gordon, he goes to St. John's University. He's 21 years old. Yeah, he's 21 years old. So I have a very, very strong team behind me, you know. And we pray together. We educate each other. We send each other articles about business, and we motivate each other all the time. It's good because, you know, before Kira came along, which was fairly recently, we have it was just us brothers, and we always talk about how we want to make change the image of, you know, what a black man is perceived in media. You know what I mean? If you,
Right.
we work hard for that. We really work hard for that. We work hard for that. We're very conscious of what we say. We're very conscious of what we do. We're very conscious of how we speak to people and how we deal with people, because we don't want to do anything. I mean, you have to be very critical in this world.
So to make sure that, you know, we get to see what you're doing, I want you the next video, you give it to
Yeah.
Graham, and we might even Skype you in or something.
That would be
Just,
great.
All right? Just
That would
to
be great.
stay in touch and make sure that we're following what you're doing. 'Cause you have a great background that I don't see how you can miss.
Thank you.
Because you got God in your heart. That's most important. And I think that's what we have to most project to young black men out here. That's why we've started off with Martin. And you have to realize that January 19th, we're celebrating Martin Luther King Day at National Action Network, which is my church. A lot of people argue whether Reverend Sharpton's a real, a real preacher, but I've been around him for 16, 17 years. And it's a spiritual nature in him that, evolves and turns, as we all go through the struggle. It's, like I say, it's planned genocide, and it's how you get through this madness. And don't let it drive you crazy. But you have got such a great start.
Thank you.
But you're in a tricky business.
I am.
It's a tricky business.
It is. Very tricky business.
I think you've carved out a niche
Yeah.
that is your own. And you can oversee that, literally, and working with, you remember back in the day when hip-hop started out, the breakdancing.
Yeah.
And guys would have a piece of linoleum or cardboard, and guys got together on the sidewalk and were doing their moves. And that went global. It went global. To the point where you had the Fly Girls,
Yeah.
in living color. And look where the Fly Girls have gone. You got J-Lo out of the Fly Girls. Mookie, Mookie, Mookie. I can't remember her name. She was a Fly girl.
Yeah, she was fly back then.
She's fly. She's on The View. I'm trying to remember the sister's
Yeah,
name.
the Bronx.
But she lives on Clinton Avenue in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
She's a Brooklynite.
Brooklyn.
But the culture, the music, the arts, the dance, all of that tells a story. I was thinking back to the Temptations. War, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again. That music can be played at any period of time, but the genre remains consistent. The message is consistent. War serves no purpose. So when you produce good music, it never goes out of style.
That's right.
It never goes. It might be old, but it's current. It remains current. So whatever you're doing, and it's already in your head, you want a level of performance and expertise set apart, if I may say, a cut above what other people are doing.
You
As
got
long
20
as
seconds.
as long as you're in that genre and in that mindset, you're going to continue to be
We got
successful.
30 seconds to go. So give us a brief.
Okay, well, if you want to learn anything, if you want to learn more about Mindless Thoughts, you can go to mindlessthoughts.com.
Oh, spell it out because it's not the way people think.
Yes, MINDEZZTHOUGHTZ.
And with that, you come to the Gilchrist experience. Stay tuned. God bless. God in me loves the God in you. I don't know if I got that in there.
You're off the air. It's
All right, we got to get out of here real quick.
Oh, yes.
All
That
right.
other group is coming in right now.